Awesome. So Distinguished Toastmasters Award is the highest individual honor a member can achieve in our Toastmasters education program. And in order to achieve it, a member has to be highly dedicated and has to have that Toastmaster spirit in them. And this year's fabulous DTMs have achieved this highest individual honor during absolutely unpredictable times of the era, I would say, which in itself is another feat of achievement for them. And therefore, we would like to appreciate them for the support and the hard work they have put in order to attain this highest level of award within the Toastmasters community. So in appreciation, we have sent out a breakfast hamper for our 3 DTMs. And if you haven't received it yet, then it is definitely on its way. There is also a Medal of Honor along with your DTM pins that will be sent out for your use from here on. So enjoy it. And District 73 is celebrating you, DTMs, and is honored to have you as our fabulous, fabulous members. With this, I would now like to call our very own fabulously awesome, as we like to call him, Mr. James Bond, secretly, District Director DTM Carl Hughes, to felicitate our DTMs this year and share a few words of wisdom with us. Carl, over to you.
Oh, thank you very much, Namrita. I love your introductions. You can introduce me anytime. Thank you. But it's not about me. It's about other people. And I would like to congratulate our 3 newly minted DTMs. David, who I can see in the room, give us a wave, David. Oh, David looks like he's, oh, there he is. No, he's smiling. Jules, give us a wave, Jules. There we go. And Elizabeth, I don't think Elizabeth has joined us at the moment. So it's just David and Jules in the room. Well, for the 3 of you anyway, well done on seeing your journey through to your end destination, or perhaps the beginning of a new journey, the DTM Award. Now, before we go any further, what is a DTM? What is this animal we call a DTM? Well, some of us in Toastmasters know that that acronym might stand for Don't Time Me. We've heard that. It's a strange thing that happens in Toastmasters. For most of us, when we walk through the door, we can hardly say 2 words. We're too shy. We get up, we fumble. We might get called up for a table topic, and we're lucky if we get through 15 seconds of it before hoping we can just sit down very, very quickly. But then a strange thing happens on our journey, and when we get our DTM, the opposite happens. Our worst enemy, our arch enemy, is that red light. We just want to keep on going. So DTM, don't time me. Or is it perhaps doing too much? When we get involved in a DTM, it's not just doing a few speeches or ticking a box. There's a lot of work we have to do to attain this important award. We have to do all these speeches, but there's lots of other things we have to do as well in a leadership capacity and helping our fellow members around us. Doing too much? Perhaps, perhaps not. Depends on your perspective. And Richard talked about perspective yesterday. Does DTM perhaps stand for difficult to manage? Again, we're all very shy when we come through first as guests into a club, but then magic happens with the DTM and we gain our confidence and we start going out and doing things, hopefully for the good, and we get very enthusiastic. So again, for perspective, some people can say difficult to manage, but we don't. We DTMs know that we are just enthusiastic with lots of energy. So does DTM stand for any of those things? No, it doesn't. Of course, it stands for Distinguished Toastmaster. But again, what is a Distinguished Toastmaster? Why is it distinguished? It is distinguished because you, as a Distinguished Toastmaster, have seized opportunities. And not everybody embraces these opportunities. And that's why you are distinguished. Now, there's three main opportunities that a DTM achieves. The first opportunity is when you walk through that door for the very first time of a Toastmasters club. Now, you may think, well, that's easy, but for a lot of people, it's not. Myself, it took me 3 years before I finally walked through that door of Toastmasters. You, maybe it was a bit sooner, but it's still not an easy thing because people are nervous. Who are these Toastmasters? What are they? Is it some sort of cult? Are they going to try to sell me some really expensive course and another one and another one and another one? Or even worse, are they really Toastmasters? Perhaps sitting around there, drinking away and getting drunk and just toasting each other. But we know once we walk through that door, that's not their case. They're a great group of people with so much learning that we can achieve through there. You've seized that first opportunity of walking through that door, and I congratulate you. The second opportunity is when you realize, when that aha moment happens, that you need to commit. It's not just turning up to the odd meeting. It's not just doing the odd speech. It's committing. It's doing the work, because there's work to be done to be a distinguished Toastmaster. It's not an easy thing, and we need to recognize the work that you've done here. There's learning, and with learning, there's mistakes. There's experience that you have to experience. It doesn't happen by reading or watching a YouTube video, because being a distinguished Toastmaster is very experiential to get that learning. And it's all about leadership, both leadership in the classic sense of leading other people, as we talked about, but also self-leadership. Becoming a DTM, you start to become more aware of who you are. Now, many people are not up to the task of doing that work. And because of that, not everybody becomes a DTM. You prove that you are up to that work. And I congratulate you on seizing that second opportunity. Now, the third opportunity, well, this one is a little bit different, because this opportunity is an ongoing concern. In fact, it's something that you will be chasing constantly. And that is being a DTM, living up to being a DTM. And that means embracing the values of Toastmasters: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. And the beautiful thing about those values is they're universal. It's not just what happens in the four walls of a Toastmasters club. Those are life values that you can use outside of Toastmasters. It also means continuous learning. We may think as Toastmasters and distinguished Toastmasters that we know everything about communication skills and leadership, but we also know we don't know everything. And we have to keep on honing those communication and leadership skills. And also contributing to Toastmasters International itself, building this great organization, building the brand. Because when we do that and we raise the level, raise the bar of excellence for our organization, our brand, and what we stand for, it raises the value of not just our members, but the DTM award itself. It gets recognized in the community, which is so important. It's like a stock going up. Your stock keeps on increasing, your DTM award keeps on increasing. So once again, I congratulate you, David, Jules, and Elizabeth, on your achievement of becoming a distinguished Toastmaster, and I applaud you, and we all do. Well done. Back to you, Namrita.
Thank you so much, Carl. We would now like to move on to, of course, hearing out our distinguished Toastmasters as to what was their journey in achieving this highest level award, why they pursued it, and their words of wisdom for us. So please put your hands together for distinguished Toastmaster Julia Davy from Swinburne University Toastmasters Club.
Thank you so much, guys. What I'd like to talk about is the first time I walked into a Toastmasters meeting. Wow. I was really nervous, to tell you the truth. And I actually knew a couple of the members through an RSL club, my local RSL club. And I had no idea what I was in for at all. And I was asked to read out the club mission. And I think I honestly sweated buckets. It was beating off me, no joke. And if there'd been a hole in the floor, I would have jumped into it. Seriously. I was that nervous, shaking. My voice was croakier than it is today, but that's from a different reason, I think, actually. And the difference took a couple of years. It really did. There are people I know now who still say they prefer to jump in front of a train than speak in public. So it's one of those things that really gets people. And it really is just a matter of doing it. Just saying, look, I've got to get over this. I've just got to do it. And Toastmasters, we've heard about it before, but it's a safe space to be able to make an idiot of yourself. So, and I'm pretty good at making an idiot of myself, if I don't say so myself. So I just want to thank everyone and acknowledge the fact that now I really don't care about making mistakes in front of you more, but, you know, I've got enough confidence to be able to go, oh, well, whoops, move on. So I just like the idea of empowering other people with that stupidity. I'm going to leave it there and just thank everyone for everything. Back over to you, Namrita.
Thank you so much, Jules. Please put your hands together for another distinguished Toastmaster, David Martin from Flinders Lane Toastmasters Club. David, over to you.
You're on mute, David. There we go. That's what comes from using a phone for a Zoom meeting. I haven't quite worked out the controls on it. Now, I would like to have spoken off the cuff, as Julia just did, but I wrote it down. So if I look as though I'm reading, that's because I'm reading. But I just wanted to kick off. There's an old saying that says, in order to have friends, first you must be a friend. And I think that's how I feel as I sit with all of you. I'm sitting. And it's interesting with the speech that I wrote, every person's name actually has DTM at the end of it, which I think actually sums up the leadership part of it when I go thanking those people. Yesterday marked the exactly 8th year of my membership in Toastmasters. And so it marked one of those life before and life after events. And we do have a lot of those, but my life before, I always felt that I was a reasonably competent speaker. And I think it's one of those things where you could say, the more I learn, the less I know. And I think over the years, I've worked out that as a leader, I had so much to learn, and we are all still learning. I joined Toastmasters to support my son, who had public speaking issues, and I went along to support him. Once he developed that, and being a young 20-year-old at the time, other things caught up, and I think, you know, fortnightly Wednesday meetings were just a bit much. But for me, I was really hooked, and I was fortunate that my home club, Hawthorn, had some very strong members. And one of them was Tracy Green, who at that stage hadn't been a district director, but went on to become a district director. And Tracy is one of these people, as most of us know, when she needs to find somebody to do a task, she's always very effective. And so she infused that enthusiasm onto me. There's so many people that I want to thank, and unless you want to give me a whole hour to go through that list, I won't. But there are several people that I do want to thank, and coincidentally, most of them have been district directors and district governors. So I'll go through them very quickly. Tracy, as I mentioned, Elizabeth Allwood, or Liz as she's known to some, but Elizabeth as I prefer to call her, Christine Dimitros, who I met when she was doing a finance presentation at a COP, not surprisingly. Marlene Sinclair, who we all know. She was a member of TOC when I joined that. So I'm in 3 clubs, and TOC is one of them. The thing about all those people is they seem to understand when you have a need. And it's not just in Toastmasters. They seem to understand what needs to be said to you at certain times and to point you in the right direction. So they're people that have directly influenced me, but we've got other people that I'd like to thank. Terry Barrage, most of you know, I hope. Bruce Hill, everybody knows. Daryl and Cleo Pitt. Keir Wells, some of you don't know him, but Keir gave me a lot of support in the years that I was developing. Nola Sharp, does anybody know Nola Sharp? She's always been a great supporter. Judith Murphy, another one. So all of them have generously made space for me at the DTM table. But there's one person within Toastmasters that I specifically want to thank, and that's my long-term mentor, Sandra Glass at Hawthorn Toastmasters. So Sandra has been a friend and a mentor over that 8-year period, and the snippets of knowledge and wisdom within Toastmasters and the points of interest have really driven me and inspired me. So Sandra, very specifically, I'd like to thank. So I'm very proud to be on that list, the list with DTM on it. And I want to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to be part of this group. Thanks, all of you, for admitting me.
Thank you so much, David. With this, can we please have our immediate past international president, DTM, Richard Peck, to share a few words and his wisdom for our DTMs here this morning.
Well, thank you, Namrita. Pleasure to be with you this morning. Carl, you forgot a couple. Devoured the materials. Think about the materials that they had to go through to get to DTM, or destined to marvel with the stories that they have and the wisdom that they'll share. You know, when I joined Toastmasters, it was interesting when they would invite people up at conference and it was so-and-so DTM, or it was DTM all. And like many, I didn't know what that club was. It seemed to be exclusive. I thought they may have had PhD after their name. And it was a small fraternity of individuals. in a small group that you have now become members of. Statistically, they say less than 1% of our members ever achieve the Distinguished Toastmaster designation. That's an accomplishment. But it's not the end of the journey, as Carl had alluded to earlier. It's the beginning of your journey in helping others to achieve that goal. You understand what it takes to get there. I'm sure you haven't done it on your own. I'm sure there have been individuals, as David said, that have mentored and encouraged and helped. And as you have achieved this designation, this level of success, there will be others that want to follow in your footsteps, that want to achieve that 3-letter designation that seems to be so far off in the distance. And now it's your turn to mentor them, to help them, to share your wisdom and guidance, and bring them into that elusive club that everyone thinks it is. When you reflect upon your journey from giving your first speech, your icebreaker, or maybe that terrifying table topic, to where you are today, receiving this award, reflect upon what you've learned. Reflect upon the stories you've shared. Reflect upon the lives you've changed along the way, as this journey has changed yours. DTM is not the end. It's just the beginning of a greater journey for you. I wish you all the best. Congratulations and welcome to the DTM Club. We'll give you the secret password and handshake a little bit later. I'm pretty sure Carl's got his own for District 73. Namrita?
Thank you so much, Richard. Definitely need to get the DTM, you need to get into the secret club. I would just, before we move on to the education session, I would really want to call out our third DTM, Elizabeth Owen. DTM Elizabeth Owen from Adelaide City Toastmasters Club. She's not here tonight. So I'm still in the night. Oh my God. This morning. She's not here today, but really want to acknowledge her contribution in getting the Distinguished Toastmaster Award this year as well. So Elizabeth, if you are going to watch this, we really, really and genuinely congratulate on achieving your DTM. With that, let's move on to our education session. So the purpose of education is to replace an empty mind with an open one. Hope that quote does trickle your brain cells a bit. However, we have someone here who will make it tickle a little more than this. We have taken this opportunity of having some time during the DTM breakfast and have requested our very own fabulous DTM, Michael Clancy, to give us a bit of insight on what this DTM award is all about and how can we aim towards achieving it. Also, this is a very useful session for our fabulous DTMs as well, as Michael will be sharing tips as to what more can you do now that you have achieved DTM. Learning is a never-ending process and growth never ceases. So stay on for some more enlightenment while you enjoy your lovely breakfast hamper and others, your tea or coffee in your conference mug, the Rida Wave mug. So please put your hands together for DTM Michael Clancy.
Hopefully you can all see my screen.
Yep.
First of all, I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands that I am coming from, the Wurundjeri people in the Kulin Nations. And I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Let's see if we can move that on. First of all, congratulations to our new distinguished Toastmasters. The requirements of a DTM are to complete 2 unique learning paths, to complete a DTM project, to serve as a club officer for 12 months, to serve as a club mentor or a club coach, to serve as a club sponsor or conduct a speechcraft or youth leadership program, and to serve as a district officer for at least 1 year. Why a club officer serves for 12 months and a district officer 1 year? You would have to ask the material that I stole this from. So as you've served a club officer, I would like to thank you for giving your time and efforts to making your club a better club. For serving as a district officer for a year, thank you for giving your time and effort in making District 73 a better district. For serving as a club sponsor or conducting a speechcraft or youth leadership program. This is about sharing your knowledge, sharing what you've learned. And for that, I'm sure everybody is appreciative. I'm sure that you have taught people well. So thank you. You've been a club mentor or a club coach, which is helping clubs improve. And for that, those clubs have become stronger. Those clubs have become more viable. And for that, we need to thank you as well. You've completed 2 unique learning paths. Surprisingly, that is about 30 speeches. It's at least 28 different projects, but you may have done an extra project here or there. You've done so much to help your clubs achieve both their distinguished club program goals and to be informative. So thank you. But is it time to explore a new path? Before we go on to that.
Michael, sorry, are you sharing your slide? Because we can see your screen. We can see the...
You can't see the screen. I do think I'm sharing. Wait a sec.
We can see zebras.
Yeah. Is that what you're sharing?
Sorry? What
Is that what you're sharing? We can see your screensaver, I think.
Zebras. We can only see
You've got the
zebras.
wrong screen. Wait a sec. Let's see if we can do this again. You've got the wrong screen. Oh dear.
They're really nice zebras.
Yeah, those ones are.
And I was thinking there's going to be a meaning. There's going to be something related to that.
Let's come up with screen 2. Wait a sec.
That looks good.
Yeah, and we could hear you, Michael.
At least you can hear me.
Important.
Wait a sec. I'm still trying to stop share there. Try this again. So share. Screen 1.
Now. I was like, okay.
Now you can see it?
No.
Now we can see.
No, that's the presenter. You had it before you just switched it off.
This is not working the way. Screen 2. It says screen 2 and screen 1. Oh, maybe it's.
You had it on your previous incarnation. Here you are. That's it.
You can see that one?
You're good, but your audio's off now.
Multiple screens. You don't know what screen 1 is and screen 2. And I think, yes. Okay. So let's see, where were we up to? What have you achieved? You've completed 2 unique learning paths. You've completed a DTM project. You have served as a club officer for at least 12 months. You've served as a club mentor or coach. You've served as a club sponsor. Or you've conducted a youth leadership or speechcraft project. You've served as a district officer. You've done a lot for Toastmasters. Now it's time to do something for yourself. But first, celebrate what you have achieved, because it is significant. It is very much something worthwhile celebrating. And then you get to choose your next path. Now, you've done 2 paths. There are 11 possible paths. I don't know what 2 paths you chose, but let's look at those complete 11 paths. You've got those that force you to be a keynote speaker towards the end, the engaging humor or presentation mastery. Think about doing that if that is what you haven't done and would you like to do, because that is something that will keep the flame burning brightly. If you are into relationship building, you could do leadership development, motivational strategies, or visionary communication, which all have you working with small teams to build a plan and deliver it. If you are a true server, leader server, think about leadership service. You've already done the requirements for this because you've served in a volunteer leadership role for your club, for your district. You've done it for 12 months. You only need to do it for 6 in leadership service applications, projects. The dynamic leadership, strategic relationships, and team collaboration paths all require you to be a leader. And then there's the leadership project, the high performance leadership project, very much like your DTM, but the high performance leadership project is something you can do, and it doesn't need to be for Toastmasters. So if you choose to do effective coaching, innovative planning, or persuasive influence, you will get to do a large project where you get to build a team and deliver something worthwhile. You've already proved that you're capable of doing that because your DTM project was exactly that, but that was for Toastmasters. This you can do for something that you are passionate about. So there's a lot of stuff to do in your next project, in your next path. Choose one or choose 2. You will grow as you go through those paths. But reflect, what struggles did you have to achieve what you have? Are you going to repeat them? Are you going to retry them? Are you going to revisit some of them? Are you going to aim for perfection or try something different? How you challenge yourself will help you with your motivation. And one of the things that you must be aware of after reaching the pinnacle is it's not all downhill unless you want it to be. Try to stay on the top of the mountain for as long as you can. Challenge yourself to do that. You can share your wisdom. You can take on mentoring. You can deliver educationals. You can show your leadership skills in more different ways. That's a horrible sentence, more different ways. Get rid of it. You can deliver your leadership in more effective ways. Think about the lessons you learned along the way, your challenges, your achievements, your choices, and share that knowledge with your fellow Toastmasters. A DTM is the pinnacle of our Toastmasters journey, but it's not the end. It's not the beginning. It's just a point. You can continue to do what you've been doing and do it effectively. So try to relight your flame. Have you achieved your original goals? What do you need for you? Review your goals. Remember your goals if you're as old as I am, and refocus to recharge yourself. Do you have new goals? What do you need for you now? Are you going to look at your old goals and continue with them, or are you going to refine them to better understand where you're heading? Remembering where we've been will help us to determine where we go. Now is the time that we need to refocus and rebuild on our journey. There are 11 possible paths, and every path looks different. Every path for every person is a different journey. Even if two people are on the same path, the journey will look different. Enjoy the journey as we go along. Enjoy the journey as you think it ends. Turn around and start walking back, and you'll see a different perspective on the same thing. So just to reiterate, our DTM requirements were to complete 2 unique learning paths. There are 9 more paths for you to do. Complete a DTM project, and you can think of more DTM projects that you didn't do. You can serve as a club officer for another 12 months. You could mentor or coach another club. Run another speechcraft or youth leadership program, or sponsor yet another club. And the district will always welcome you as an officer for another year. You have 1 DTM. Maybe your next peak is your 2nd DTM. And I include this as a reflection. Don't lose sight of your current journey. The Toastmasters International mission is to empower individuals to become effective communication leaders. You are an effective communication and a leader. Share that. Help provide supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered. Help develop communication and leadership skills to help your members gaining confidence and grow. Remember those Toastmasters core values. Now, I think they got it wrong. I think it should have been respect, integrity, service, and excellent, because that would give us an acronym of RISE. And I want to see our DTMs rise. I want to see them help other members rise. Reacquaint yourself with your Toastmasters promise, because that is what we do as Toastmasters. You have been fulfilling that promise. Remember why you fulfill it. Remember why we gave that promise. I think you will grow as members of Toastmasters, even with those 3 letters next to your name. DTM is just one part of the journey. Continue with your journey, have fun, and continue to learn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing those extraordinary words of wisdom with us. So life is like a box of chocolates, and you never know what you're going to get. And someone in my club the other day made an icebreaker speech on this. And this being from one of my favorite movies of all time, Forrest Gump, I couldn't resist pondering and thinking about it after I got done with my meeting the other day. So what it made me wonder about the most is all that Toastmasters has given me in the last 5 years since I joined. And I couldn't stop wondering that how Toastmasters has given me all my favorite chocolates, that is of immense growth. And also, and most of all, I think I'm surrounded by some amazing, compassionate and giving human beings now. If this is what your experience has been like, then please join me in spreading the word, because I don't think I can stop talking about it all. Well, we have come to the end of our DTM breakfast yet again very soon, and we'll be moving towards all our other events lined up for the day. So the next event is our district evaluation contest that is scheduled to commence at 10 a.m. AEST and 9:30 ACST time zone. Thank you all for attending the warm breakfast today. I hope you have had one at your end, and hopefully we can have one in person together next year. That would be just amazing, finally. And I will see you soon at the evaluation contest. Have a good rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thanks, Namrita.
Thanks, David.